Hey, welcome back to the Unstuck movement. I am your host, Rob Z. This platform was created to help you break those chains in your life that have been holding you back personally and professionally. So I bring incredible guests on who have incredible stories of breakthrough. Today, we have Alain Salas with us on the podcast. And I love to jump in right off the bat with a powerful question, right? Get right to the heart of the matter as we kick things off. And Alain, I'm curious, in your experience, what is one of the biggest misconceptions that people have about healing in our lives?
Yeah, thank you, Rob. Bonjour, should I say, in my native language. Obviously, I was
Bonjour.
born and raised in, yeah, here we go. Look at you. I was born and raised in south of France. And so the biggest misconception is really that what is true healing, right? Because we talk about healing and sometimes we misappropriate that word. And so there's two things in order. When you've got a problem in life, there's two things you need to know. Number one, you need to know what's causing the problem. And number two, you need to know how to fix it. When you know what's causing your problem, you know how to fix it, there's no more problem. It means you can move on. You don't need to take any supplement, like in regard of healing, you moving on. So that's the same thing with healing, right? You need to identify what's causing the problem, your health problem, right? And you need to know how to fix it. And after you move on, you're done with it. And the big misconception is just to basically, if you still have to do something for your healing, right? It means that you didn't find really what was the cause of a problem, or you didn't know how to fix it. Does it make sense to you, Rob?
Of course, yeah. And I think, and I'm curious on this one too, right? Because we could find things that are wrong, but if we don't get to the core of it, we're not going to fix it down to the root cause of the problem, right? So oftentimes we can put some band-aids on by not going deep enough. Is that a good understanding?
Yeah, and if you apply that to healing, I totally agree with you. If you apply to healing, I think the medicine right now is very good for emergency room, meaning that hey, if I break a bone, I want the good surgeon, I want the anesthesian, please give me the painkiller, right? No problem with that. Now, for long-term pain and stress, right? For like chronic disease, they are terrible. They are number 3 killer in this country, right? Number 3 killer in this country, according to the American Medical Association, is medical errors and drug side effects. Why? Because they don't find out what's causing your problem, right? They treat the symptom, not the cause of the problem, by giving you medication or some surgery that sometimes you don't need because they didn't figure out what's causing the problem. Like I can debate a medical doctor in literally 1 minute, right? Because let's see, if you've got osteoarthritis, you've got some problem with your knee, and so you give a drug, to some anti-inflammatory. So I'm going to say, oh, you mean that the cause of your problem is lack of drugs, right? It's because I didn't have any lack. You see how it sounds silly and stupid, right? But that's literally what it is. So philosophically, they cannot fix you. It just doesn't. They will never be able to heal you, like what we are talking about, the true healing, finding the cause of a problem and knowing how to fix it. Does it make sense?
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. And it's so crazy that that's the kind of society that we live in, because we're a consumer based society. We have this like consumerism concept, right? So we have to add something to fix something instead of taking something away to fix something, right? There's something there that's not right that we need to either fix or correct that's already in existence. Adding something to it is just piling onto it. I mean, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
I agree, but the main thing is like we don't need to get involved. I take a drug, it's like I don't have to be, and true healing come from within, right? True healing is within out. That's what we're gonna talk about that today, right? And so of course I don't have to be a part of a team, right? I'm gonna take the drugs and I have nothing to do, right? Of course I'm not gonna change the way I eat and all that, right? And so we are like, in that mentality that we are like in a savior, or we're waiting for the hero that's gonna heal us, that's gonna transform us, that's gonna make us grow. I never, as you know, Rob, I'm sure you do. It never happened that way. You are the one you have been waiting for, right? And so the true healings come from you, right, to start with, right, and not from some external circumstances.
Oh, I love it, man. I love this. We're already getting off onto a good foot here. So before we go any further, just want to welcome everybody once again. The Unstuck movement is a platform created. If you're looking for breakthrough in your life, I bring people on who have had incredible breakthroughs to prove that it's possible for you. I want to give examples of true testimony of breakthrough. We're sponsored by the Connected Leaders Academy. Make sure you check out connectedleadersacademy.com. And also, if you're somebody who is the expert at what you do, but you really want to be the go-to authority in your field, you want to create a lasting impact on people's lives, and you want to make incredible personal and professional connections in your life and business, I encourage you to launch your own platform, launch your own podcast. We help people do that. If you go to robzwentz.com, you can join the wait list for our Pro Podcaster Academy. Today with us is Dr. Alain Salas. He's a chiropractic physician, best-selling author, and creator of the Mind Clearing System, helping individuals and professionals eliminate limiting beliefs to achieve health, wealth, and fulfillment. With over 28 years of experience, he has transformed the lives of thousands of people across the U.S. and Europe. So how do we get to the root, right? So going back to this whole root cause situation, we put a bunch of Band-Aids on. How do we make sure that we get to the root of an issue to find that true healing?
Well, that's the $1 million question, right? Isn't it? What's causing it, right? And so, well, if I can go back to my story a little bit, you will understand what was my motivation to, like you say, find the root of the problem, right? So I used to live on a sailing boat in south of France. I used to rent boat, right? And I was, and they used to call me the gypsy. So imagine myself with long hair, the earring, partying all the time, lots of alcohol, and all that, right? So,
yeah.
And the rest of the year, when I was done working, I used to travel. So you think, oh, this is the ideal life, right? But something was missing. And 6 or 7 years after living that life, I had a calling, and I saw myself helping people, healing people. So nobody in my family were doing that. No MD, no nurse, no holistic healing, no even massage therapist. So I started to ask around me, and talked to one of my clients, and he said, "You know what, Alain? There's a Chinese doctor that is coming to visit me. If you want, you can talk to him." I said, "For sure, let me talk to that guy." And we had a conversation for like an hour. And he told me, "Okay, Alain, when you're done with a season working, you just come to my office. I will give you a treatment and we'll talk. Give me some book to read." I'm sorry. And so did I, right? And so I went to see the guy, and so he gave me a treatment, and we start talking, right, about Chinese medicine. And he told me, "Well, Alain, if you really want to know what you're doing, you need to go to China like I did, spend 10 years, learn Chinese and study the old text and all that." I said, whoa, wait a minute. I was 30 years old at that time. I wanted to practice one day, right? And so I said, it's a little bit too long for me, right? And he looked at me and said, "Oh, you look strong. Why not chiropractic?" And that's how it started, right? So he gave me the information, some French guy who went to America to become chiropractic physician. When I got the information, by the way, I got that translated by one of my best friends that was an English teacher, that show you how bad my English was, right? And really what was fascinating to me, Rob, is they were talking about innate intelligence, your ability to heal yourself. And that really resonated with me. And that's the reason why I tried it. So I went to America. I got treated by a French lady there, right? French connection, if I may say. And I loved it. And sure enough, I sold my boat business, cut my hair, wear a tie, and the gypsy was gone for a while, right? And basically, I did study chiropractic, right, in Kansas City, Missouri. That's where I reside right now. And I met my wife. She's my first wife. She's a French lady. I met her in a bar. And we have a daughter, Maya, right? And so I started to treat people, and the things, we're talking about the cause and, finding the cause and all that. Started to treat people, and people will get better, but after they will very soon plateau, right? And in order to maintain the way they were, I still have to treat them. So did I really go towards the cause of the problem? In fairness, no. Right. So I started to look like even deeper, and I realized that we've got different stress in our life, right? We've got the chemical stress, we've got the chemical stress, which is basically called inflammation, right? What's creating the inflammation in your body. We've got obviously the physical stress, right? When the force impacting us, right? And we've got the emotional and mental stress, right? So I started to investigate, okay, what's causing, if I can find what's causing the inflammation of the body, I can help all those joints, and pain and all that. So I made a practice out of it. I mean, quite a sizable practice. I used to see 250 patients a week, right? And have 4 employees, really. And I was living my passion, my calling, right? So, the only problem is like I started to when I worked so much and my mind was so focused, so in balance, only focused on work, that when I was coming back home after a day of work, right, I was there, but I was not present with my family. So obviously, you know what happened during that stuff, right? So my marriage went down the drain, and within a year, that's what happened to me. Within a year, I divorced, right? And I had my daughter. So it's never a handshake, right? Trust me. And so I divorced because after I got depressed because of the situation and all that, I lost my passion and the juice, that came with it. And so I became depressed. And so my practice went from thriving to failing. And the cherry on the cake, I got diagnosed with early stage of colon cancer. So imagine all the things like my job, I was doing my own program. You will have been a patient, Rob. I will have tell you, okay, what not to do to avoid cancer, cardiovascular disease. And here we are, I got diagnosed with that. So I had to really reinvent myself, and find out, because I knew it would come from within, right? I knew it was, I could blame my wife, I could blame some circumstances, but I knew there was something within me that kept me stuck, right? Something within me that pushed me to sabotage my health, my relationship, and prosperity. And that was my quest.
So where did that quest take you? What did you come to in that journey?
Well, so always, the cause, I need to identify what's causing it, like you say, what are the root causes that push me to sabotage myself? And what I realized that, we are mind-body connection, right? So what does it mean? Because we always hear about that, right? But do we exactly know what the mind is? I don't think so. I'm going to say some things to your audience, and in some occasion, they better sit down because they're going to be shocked of what they're going to hear, right? So the first thing, when I started to investigate mind, the first thing that came up is like we live in two separate worlds at the same time. So what do I mean by that? We've got the outer world, right, and the inner world. So what is the outer world? Well, it's called the conscious mind. So it's basically your self-identity, Rob, who you think you are, your personality, what thought, emotion, behavior and action you're aware of, right? And so what you think you can do as a human being, Rob, and what you think you cannot do, right? It's basically what you're aware of, right? So that's your conscious mind. And after you've got the mysterious mind, right? It's called the subconscious or unconscious mind. I like to keep it simple and call that subconscious mind. And it's basically that subconscious mind is designed to record everything you have been doing in your life from age 0 to now. Your skill as a podcaster, as a father, as a human being, are stored in that subconscious mind. All the things that make you, all the automatic function in your body, like breathing, heartbeat, that you don't have to think about it, originate for your subconscious mind, right? So the question is like, okay, so what is, how important is that subconscious mind, right? And so, first things, you process data with your conscious mind at 11 bits per second. Guess what? You process data with your subconscious mind at 11 million bits per second. So right from the start, your subconscious mind is 1 million times powerful as far as collecting data and recorded them and keeping them, right? So that got me attention first. But the second thing is really the one that blew my mind away, if I may say that, right? It was crazy. And so if you have a ratio between your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, well, Rob, your conscious mind is only, depends who you're reading, 5 to 10% of your mind, meaning that the subconscious mind that you are not aware of, right, is 90 to 95% of your mind. And yet, for growing, for transforming ourselves, for healing, what we focus on? Only the conscious mind, which is only 5 or 10% of your mind power and your brain power.
Mm.
So what if we can bring that subconscious mind to the party for healing, transformation, and growth? What do you think? That would be a good thing, right?
I would say so. Yeah, for sure.
So that was my quest. When I figured that out, I said, we need to find a way to communicate with the subconscious mind, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the way to communicate with the subconscious mind really became my obsession in a way, right? How can I interact? And especially when I've learned that we can be programmed as human beings. What do you mean, Dr. Salas? We can be programmed, right? It means that all the action and the behavior that I take, it's not coming from me as self-identity. Heck no. Those programs are dictating your life, right? And so how does it work? Especially when depends who you're reading, but from age 0 to 6 to 8 years old, we are like sponges, right? So we think that what we see in the outer world is like, it's kind of a truth, right? So we assume things. And if you assume the same thing for quite a repetition, that's going to become a program. So you've got, Rob, two kind of program, right? You've got programs that are serving you, right? Like it's kind of like your mind is working for you, right? And you've got programs that are not serving you. So it's kind of your mind that is not working for you, right? Not serving you any longer, should I say. And your mind is working against you. So when your mind is working for you, the program are called empowering belief, right? The subconscious mind. And when the mind is working against you, they are called limiting belief, right? And those programs, of course, they originate from your past. So your past trauma, the challenge that you are in your life, and all like that. And they are programs running in the background, right? So since we're talking about program, let's talk about computer and make an analogy with a computer, if you allow me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let's pretend your mind is a computer, right? And so your hard drive is your brain. I wrote a number one Amazon bestseller book. It's called The Brain Power Secret, right? But the brain, it's only that. It's not your consciousness. Your thoughts are not in your brain. It's like an interface, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it has to work good, right? And so your brain,
it's like an antenna. Is that a good way of looking at it?
like in between your physical and higher power, right?
Yeah.
And so that's your brain is your hard drive, okay? And after your software is like your subconscious mind, right? All the programs are running, right? And the output of those software are your conscious mind. And your behavior is reflected in the screen of life. Meaning that if I've got a good quality, powerful software, it means lots of empowering belief and not too many limiting belief. I'm going to tell you, man, Rob, my life is great. Never better, right? I don't feel stuck, rarely, and I can move on very quickly, right? But if my programming, right, if my software is full of limiting belief, so what I'm going to see of screen of life, I say, man, I always feel stuck. I cannot get unstuck. I've been feeling stuck for the rest of my life, all my life, and I cannot unstuck myself, right? And my life is full of suffering and things like that, right? And so what if we can get rid of those limiting beliefs, right? Deleting them. Because when you got a program, it doesn't work for you on your computer, Rob, what are you going to do? You delete the program and you replace that program with the one that's going to be serving you, like that what you see on your screen. You're going to love it, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And so those are the 3 steps of a mind clearing system. So number 1, what we do, we delete your limiting belief. Number 2, we replace them. We download empowering belief. And number 3, we want to make sure that you create that into your life, that you get unstuck into your life, that you see the fruits of your deprogramming.
I love it, man. And this is something that is not new to our world. These things have been, known and practiced for a long time. And so I'm always curious because I love the fact that there's formula, there's ways for us to find these breakthroughs. And we're going to take a 60-second break to shout out the sponsor of the show. When we come back, I want to know about you, the limiting beliefs. How did you empower yourself? And what actions did you take practically for you to find that major breakthrough that you knew, oh, wow, this is a major change for me. And oh, holy cow, I can use this and help other people find those breakthroughs. We'll talk about that in 60 seconds. Are you struggling to make consistent, valuable content for yourself? Do you want to have an efficient and effective way to create content that attracts the people that you want to connect with in life, the people you want to build relationships with in business? Do you want to be the go-to authority at what you do, at what you're great at? Would it be helpful for you if you had a platform that connects you to incredible people in your industry? The kind of platform that gets you leads and lands you clients without you having to beat down anybody's door or blow up anybody's inbox. Whether you're already creating content or you're desiring to start and it's something that's been kind of burning inside of you for a while, I urge you and encourage you to check out the Pro Podcaster Academy. Get started right now. Join the waitlist at robzwentz.com.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're a growing tribe, a community of entrepreneurs all over the world globally. If you're an entrepreneur and you're looking to grow personally and professionally, scale your influence, develop your skill sets, move the needle in your business, more clients, more money, more profit, the bottom line, and of course, grow your circle and your network like never before, join the Connected Leaders Academy today. Check me out on Instagram and on Facebook, the @ JASCO25. We look forward to having you join us. Take care.
Alan, loving this conversation, loving the wisdom that you're sharing with us today. So you had these major breakthroughs for yourself in your own life. How did that play out for you?
Well, first of all, the first thing I wanted to be able to talk the same language but the subconscious mind. It's the equivalent. We are on a podcast here. I can see you on a video. I can hear you, right? Imagine the audio goes down, right? And so I have to communicate now with you and to the listener, which is even more challenging, right? But I have to communicate with them with sign language, maybe writing down some stuff. I mean, how far we're going to go and how deep we're going to go to our conversation, right? Not too much, right? Yeah. And so what I feel now, the way that, like you said, the limiting belief, you have heard about it, but there's so many misconceptions about it. And I felt that in my field, they don't talk the same language. Right? They tell you, oh, you need to journal, you need to do a ton of affirmation, lots of repetition, and feel the emotion and hope for the best. So for me, it's not that, right? And you need to identify the limiting belief. I say, no, you don't need. We could care less about, in the mind clearing, we could care less about identifying your limiting belief. You just replace that by empowering one. So now the question is, okay, what is the language of a subconscious mind? Well, you dream, right? You remember dreams. Everybody, listening have been remember dreams, right? What do you remember about a dream? A picture, always a picture of a series of pictures, right? I never had anybody telling me, oh, you know what, Dr. Salas, I remember only the smell of my dream, right? Doesn't make any sense. There's always a picture. So that's why, a picture is worth 1,000 words, right? That's why the subconscious mind is so powerful. Remember, 11 million beats per second. It can record because there's a picture. And when you look at all the dream interpretation books, why there's so many? Because there's symbolism in that picture that you cannot even imagine or dare to replicate by writing what it means, because it's so personal. It's according to your psyche. It's according to the collective consciousness, to what Carl Jung called the archetype, and so many things that you cannot even. It has to be a picture. Does it make sense to you?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, has to be a picture.
Yeah. So basically, Rob, because the misconception. So another misconception is like, if you go to Google and you put limiting belief, you're going to see, oh, not good enough, and I'm too old to do that. And those are limiting beliefs. But this is only a part of it. Because limiting belief, the way you need to understand it, and your audience need to understand it, it's negative programming, right? So it can affect anything. So, okay. So do you think that negative limiting belief can create pain in your body? You bet. I treat that every day. Do you think that limiting belief can create inflammation in your body? You bet. I treat that every day. Do you think that limiting belief can create any symptom in your body? You bet you. Do you think that limiting belief can prevent you to reach your goal and can be a big obstacle to your success? Oh, definitely. Right? So limiting beliefs are not only what the internet is telling you, right? They are not only the Google things, they affect everything in your life. Matter of fact, it's kind of like your past is dictating your present because of the programming, right? Your screen of life, remember, your behavior, and molding your future, right? So what if we can, get rid of or deleting the things in the past that we don't want, those limiting beliefs? Your present's going to be, oh, I'm so much happier, life is so much better. I can unstuck myself so easily, whatever you feel stuck. So I used spend a lot, to refine that technique. It took me 3 years. So we're going to use pen, and after we'll give you another example with being stuck, right? So let's pretend you have heard about me and you say, man, I've always had that neck tension. I've been seeing some massage therapists, physical therapists, blah, blah, blah. And it's still there. But it gets better, but it never lasts, right? I said, okay. So here what we're going to do, Rob. So what I want you to do is to visualize your worst pain in your neck ever. Visualize you have to be in that picture, having that neck pain. So that's the representation of your limiting belief, that picture. And so what we're going to do, we're going to customize a program to delete that limiting belief. So I created that program. It's not complicated. We just customize it. And you need me to do that, right? To guide you, to give you the technology, how to communicate with your subconscious mind. But here's the thing. I'm helping you, empowering you to heal yourself. That's going to be your picture, not mine, right? So you're going to bring that subconscious mind, that power of subconscious mind to the body, the 90 to 95% power of your own mind power, of your own brain power. So you're healing yourself. That's the holy grail of healing when you can help. Trust me, I've been doing that for 28, now going 29 years. When you can help anybody to empower themselves to heal, transform, and grow, that's the holy grail of healing. No doubt about it, right? Because you are doing it. There's no better person than you, because you already have all those abilities, but we cannot connect. We don't talk the same language. We have been, but we're only 5 or 10% our mind, right? Or poor, I'm like only my self-identity. And we are spirit living a physical experience. Right? We change. It's a game changer. When you're aware of that and you start to realize that, that's a game changer in your life. So we visualize that, we delete that. Step number 1. So basically, we get rid of what you don't want. Right? And after I will say, no, from that negative picture, right? I want you to visualize the opposite of that picture, a picture that you love, right? So you visualize that. That's gonna be the representation of your empowering belief. And we're going to download that to your subconscious mind to replace that limiting belief we just deleted. Okay, very simple. And after so special programming, customized a little bit, right, to you. And after the step number 3, you want to make sure that you create that into your life, right? Because lots of people stop, you need to have a thought and the emotion connected, right? Align, right? But the problem, this is fantasy in your head until you take action. We are human beings, we are spirit designed to take action. That's why I love your title, because when you stuck, you don't take action by definition. You just don't know how to take action, right? So let me bring some clarity a little bit, if you allow me, right?
Yeah, please go ahead.
There's a triangle, right? And inside the triangle, you've got limiting belief. On top of a triangle, so if you do have limiting belief, Rob, what's going to happen? You're going to have negative thought, right? Of course. If you got negative thought, you're going to have overwhelming emotion on the right base of your triangle. On the left base of your triangle, of course, you're going to have some non-desirable behavior and unproductive action, right? So let's see. My limiting belief make me stuck. So I'm going to think, man, I'm really stuck. I'm going to feel like I'm stuck. right? I'm going to behave like I am stuck. I'm going to take action like I am stuck. And I'm gonna look at my result and remember the screen of life, and I look at that
Mhm.
and say, damn, I knew I'm gonna feel even more stuck, right?
Right, you're just kind of like
You see
reaffirming the
what I
same
mean?
loop. You're like, yeah, you're
Yeah,
confirming to yourself the same loop over and over again.
exactly. I'm gonna thought, man, I knew I was stuck, but that's stuck, right? And so I call that the subconscious stress stress loop, like you mentioned that, right?
Mhm.
Exactly that. Subconscious stress loop. And we've got so many loop running behind the scene all the time, 24/7, dictating our behavior, detecting our thought, our emotion, and our behavior and action.
Mhm.
So when you can change that, this is it. You can get unstuck.
So going, you said so many good things there. So I want to touch on a couple. First of all, you
Sure.
mentioned the name of the show, right? The Unstuck movement. And
Yes.
the reason this name came to me, which I didn't really make it up, it came to me. And if you're stuck, you need to have movement. There has to be action taken. So that the name came from, like, right, to get unstuck, there must be movement. There's no other way. You've got to move. You got to take action. And from my own personal experience, sometimes it doesn't matter what action you take. It might not be the perfect action. You've got to take some sort of action to start to create that movement to break free. Now, you mentioned a lot about pictures there, picturing something, right? And it's vision. Vision is everything. So I think of in the Bible, it says, where there's no vision, the people perish, right? So we literally, without a strong vision, a positive vision for our life, we can't go anywhere. We don't move. We're dying instead of living, right? Instead of growing. And so I love thinking about that, because it's so true that we can build a picture, a literal visual for what we want, and then we can feel how that visual feels, right? The emotions that come with that. Am I connecting with you, or where are you
Yeah,
disconnecting?
based on your part of it, that's what you have been taught, right? That's what it's in my field. But I say it's not enough. You have to
Okay.
think, you have to feel, and you have to behave,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you need to have what we call the alignment. If your thoughts are aligned with your emotion and aligned with your behavior and action, you're unstuck. This is it. That's
And
the
that's
way to be
that's the
unstuck.
loop, right? That's the loop you're talking
Yes.
about.
Well, the thing is, like, let's see. If I think I'm going to start a diet, right? I'm thinking I'm going to start a diet. I feel like, and the emotion, like you say, come up, and I say, well, last time I started a diet, I lost some weight, and 2 months later, I gained the weight back and more. So my emotions say, oh, I don't think so. So I'm not going to take action. Or if
Yeah.
I take action, I'm not going to last, right? And so why? Because my emotion are not aligned. Now I can have my thought and emotion. We call that coherence. They like to use big words, but it's basically to be aligned, right? So the thought and emotion are aligned, right?
Yeah.
Well, it's still a fantasy in my head if I don't take action. That's called, for people who know a little bit more, it's called the law of attraction, right? So it means I'm ready to attract that, but what is better than the law of attraction? It's the law of manifestation. You want this to show up in your life. You want to lose the weight and never getting back, right?
Yeah.
So we will reprogram that. And feeling is not enough, right? I mean, you need to, that program that created over all those, to feel about it, to really think. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I'm saying that there's a path that goes so much faster, because, to be honest with you, I never heard in my field somebody that said that can get rid of pain in 1 or 2 visits, 80%
Mm-hmm.
of the time, which is what's happening with mind clearing. So when
Mm.
you're talking about pain and really switching on the spot people, right, to different higher consciousness, higher vibration, and getting in what they don't want, on the spot, that's meanings that we are talking the same language, because now you can understand me even with my accent. You can understand what I'm saying on the spot, right? We don't need to translate. Imagine I was speaking French, and that's the way I feel that's what's happening in the field. I will speak French, and maybe you got some basic knowledge and you can grasp 1 or 2 words, but you won't be able to grasp the all the refinement, the depth, of what the mind is and all that. And your imagination, like you say, or your vision won't be as complete.
Mm-hmm. It's I guess I wanted to touch on this because I think that I've been thinking about this a lot lately. It's like feeling your way into acting is a lot more difficult than acting your way into feeling. So I'm curious how you feel about that. So I'm thinking about working out, right? So if I don't feel like working out and I go off of my feeling, I'm not going to. But if I just start working out, then I'm going to feel like it as I'm doing it. And it's going to like fire the dopamine in my brain. And so I'm going to feel more energized by working out, even though I didn't feel like it beforehand. So I just got to go and do it. I got to go and take the action to build in the feeling of, man, I love doing this, because I'm probably not going to feel like doing it beforehand. So how do you feel about that? Feeling your way into acting or acting your way into feeling?
Both are as important. Because if you don't take the action, you're not going to be able to replicate that feeling, right? You won't have the end up result. If you don't feel it, you probably won't take action. So they all feed each other. That's the way I see it. So that's why, to have your thought, again, your feeling of your emotion depends to be aligned. For example, let's go back to the triangle, right? And we've got empowering belief, right? On top, you're going to have positive thought. On the right side of the bottom of a triangle, you're going to have supportive emotion, right? And after, you're going to have desirable behavior and productive action. So all those three needs to be in alignment.
Yeah.
And after, you don't need to have a strong will. You don't need I'm sorry, excuse my language, all the BS we're being told. Oh, you have to work hard and play hard and everything has to be hard. No, it doesn't have to be. If you're in alignment, it will be second nature and you're going to do it. And if you do have some resistance, we clear that with man clear.
Yeah.
Like if you've got pain in your neck, the pain is gone in one visit, and after you go inside your car and or you work in your computer, the pain come back, we'll treat that as a resistance or healing, right? And that's it. Very cool. The beauty with the mind, the beauty when you reprogram the mind, not only what's helping you for your neck pain, it's going to help you for your health, obviously, but also your relationship and your prosperity, because the mind as a whole, right? And so that's the beauty of it. And if I may zoom out 1 second, right? Let's zoom out and see the big picture, right? So let's pretend there's the sun, right? And the sun is the divine, God, whatever belief you've got about it, awareness, whatever. And a spark of a sun, become your spirit. And this is all what we call non-duality. It means like, it's some people will say it's like pure love, right? Or some people will say it's all there is and ever has been, right? And after you've got the cloud, you've got the sky, right? And after you've got yourself, you as physical entity like Rob and me, right? Alan, right? So what happened, if you've got some people, remember, they've got so many clouds, they say the sun doesn't exist. I never see it. I never experience it, right? And so what are those clouds? Those clouds are your limiting belief. Mm-hmm. So when you start to get rid of those limiting beliefs, now you can feel the warmth of the sun. Now you can glimpse at the sun, right? And so more limiting beliefs you get rid, more you feel the sun, more you connected to your spirit.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? And when 100%. You are more connected more you connected to your spirit, more empowering belief you have, more positive thought, and all that things is in motion now. And all what you're going to produce, like your action, what you're going to see on your screen of life, you're going to love it.
I love that expression, because the light is always shining. You might have some darkness, but the light is always shining. I had a real life example of that once. If you've ever flown on an airplane when it's storming out, right? We took off and it was storming, and it was fully clouds, gloomy day. We get above those clouds. What is there? Nothing but sunshine. And it was like this real physical reminder of like, right, the sun is always there. It's always available. We've got to get the clouds out of the way. So it's such a great analogy, such a great visual representation of what that looks like. That's good, man. So we got to wrap this thing up. This has been amazing. I love this conversation. We could go on forever. So I want to encourage people to check out what you're doing. So for a limited time right now, you can get 50% off your complete mind clearing system, 20% off individual treatments. If you go to the mindclearing.com, go to the mindclearing.com, mention this podcast when you're booking the Unstuck movement, and you're going to get that discount. Anything you want to say about that?
Yeah. If you're stuck in your life, right, you don't know what to do, you don't know what you think about it, what you feel about it, and how to behave about it, the knowledge that you have today, that you have here, right, it's great. Like you say, we can talk about it forever, but if you don't take action, if you got knowledge, you're going to apply it, well, that's still a fantasy in your head, right? So give it a shot, for whatever you want to clear, a negative emotion, a negative thought, past trauma, whatever it is, anything that bothers you, and like that, you will have the experience, the true knowledge of what this is about.
Incredible. I love it. I love just sharing this information, having this conversation. It's powerful stuff. So I want people to check out the mindclearing.com. Make sure you mention the Unstuck movement, get that discount. And going back to the beginning, if you want to be the go-to authority in your space and you haven't launched your platform, your podcast, or if you have launched your podcast, but you want to know how to streamline it better, you want to know how to monetize it so it becomes a real functioning part of your life and business that serves you, I encourage you to go to robzwentz.com, join our Pro Podcaster Academy. Awesome conversation, Alan. Thank you for being here. Anything you want to leave the audience with before we sign off?
Yeah. The last thing is like, you are so powerful, right? You don't realize we're using only 5 or 10% of our mind power. Remember, you are so powerful. I didn't realize how powerful I was, and I started to treat myself, because you can learn how to treat yourself and others, your loved one. You don't have to be a health professional and coach it, So you can do that on your own, like LA people, and you're going to realize how powerful you are. When you get rid of this cloud, and you connected more to your spirit, you're unstoppable. And you're being stuck. You may feel stuck, but you're going to be unstuck like this on the spot.
That's what we're all about. That's what we're all about here. So thank you, sir. Another true testimony of breakthrough. Until next time, this has been the Unstuck Movement.